Imagine finding out that someone you care about has been lying to you. That's what happened to me. I'm 25, and my boyfriend is 24. I just found out he was seriously cheating on me. Now, I'm feeling super confused and hurt. I don't know what to do or how to handle this. How can I start to feel better after such a big betrayal? I'm a 25-year-old woman who recently discovered that my 24-year-old boyfriend seriously cheated on me. It's like my brain is having a hard time accepting what happened. We've been together since December 2022, and everything was going great until about 2 weeks ago when I found out about the cheating. We've always felt like we're the perfect match because we have so much in common. We share the same sense of humor, family values, interests, and even the same food and music. We also agree on important life decisions like having kids, where to live, pets, and money matters. Our friends even see us as the ideal couple. That's why this situation is tough for us. A few weeks back, I checked the Find My iPhone app while I was at work. My partner and I live in different towns about a 40-minute drive apart, and we've been sharing our locations on the app for a while now. I noticed that my boyfriend's location showed him at a random house in his town that he doesn't usually visit. This seemed odd to me because he didn't mention anything about it when I asked him how his day was. I thought maybe he was there to sell something online, as he often uses platforms like Depop and Facebook Marketplace. It all came to a head about 3 weeks ago. I was spending the weekend with my boyfriend as usual when I received a text from an unknown number, claiming that my boyfriend had slept with someone who tested positive for gonorrhea and herpes and that he should get tested. It made my head spin. We had both been tested when we first got together, and we were clean. This was surefire proof that he had been unfaithful. I confronted him about the text and asked if he had been with anyone else since we met. I made it clear that I wanted honesty and didn't have time for games, especially when it came to being cheated on. He was really upset and reassured me that I was the most important person in his life and that he hadn't been with anyone else. He seemed genuinely sickened by the thought of hurting me in that way. He told me that he received a strange text from the same number. He was really worried because he was careful about who had his number, and he thought it might be a prank from one of his roommates. It was strange because my boyfriend and I kept our numbers private, so it was unsettling that someone was able to contact both of us. I was really upset and cried a lot during our conversation. After talking it through and getting all my questions answered, we decided to ignore the messages and hug it out. After my boyfriend left, someone kept messaging me even though I didn't respond. They even sent an address where we had hooked up and a video of my boyfriend arriving at that place. They kept insisting that I get tested for STDs. I felt in my heart that something wasn't right, so I kept these messages to myself until I was ready to talk to my boyfriend. I checked his phone, we're open with each other's phones, and saw that he had ordered an STD test kit. You don't do that unless you've been intimate with someone. When I felt ready and had enough evidence, I called him to talk about it. So that number kept messaging me. I want to give you another opportunity to tell me if you went and slept with someone. As I mentioned the other day, if you were honest and tell me, it would be so much easier for me to deal with rather than knowing you're lying. No, of course I haven't. I can't believe they are still messaging you. I think you should block and ignore them. Gorgeous. It's someone trying to mess with our heads. They gave me an address where this supposed meeting happened. Told him the address. Have you ever been there? No, I don't know where that is. You're saying these messages might be coming from your housemates. Is there any chance you've dropped one of them off at this address and that's how they got it? Maybe, but I don't think so. I honestly haven't been to that street before. Well, that's strange because they sent me footage of you parked there. What? That's so weird. After that, there was silence on the call for a few minutes. I didn't want to be the one to speak first, so I waited for him to say something, even though the silence felt like a confession in itself. He finally came out and told me that he paid to have a meet with an escort that he found through a website and showed me the booking confirmation. I checked and it is legit. He told me that he's into having sex in front of people and that he didn't feel that he could tell me, so he decided to book an escort to essentially watch him masturbate. Am I convinced that their relationship was purely platonic? No. Do I think he was too embarrassed to share this particular interest with me? No, because we have always had a very healthy sex life and have always had very frequent and honest conversations about kinks and things we want to explore together. I even mentioned to him earlier that I was interested in trying this, but he didn't seem enthusiastic about it at all. If this is such a big fantasy for him that he's willing to cheat on me, you'd think he'd be eager to do it together. I've always had a slightly higher sex drive than him and I've frequently asked if there's anything he'd like to try. He always reassures me that he's content with our current activities. I've always reassured him that I'm completely satisfied with what we have and that I love it. He did something that hurt me, and when I asked him why, he couldn't give me a good reason. He said he felt obsessed and needed to try it, even though he knew it was wrong. I asked him if something was missing in our relationship, but he insisted that everything was great between us. He said he regretted his actions and didn't know why he did it. I think he just made a mistake because he was feeling tempted and thought he wouldn't get caught. I'm having a hard time dealing with what has happened. Part of me wants to forgive him and go back to how things were, but I know deep down that it wouldn't be good for me. He's apologized a lot and promised to do everything he can to make things right. Whenever I need to talk or discuss it, he's there right away. His actions and words have matched since I found out, but I'm finding it hard to move past the fact that they didn't match before. I just can't believe he would lie to me like that. If I didn't have solid proof, he would have probably made me think I was imagining it. This hurts, especially because I've been cheated on before. It makes me feel like I'm just not good enough for anyone. I'm starting to wonder if there are any good guys out there. If the man I wanted to marry could do this to me, what's the point? He also travels a lot for work, and now I'm worried about how I'll feel when he's away for weeks at a time. I'm afraid I'm turning into the clingy girlfriend I never wanted to be. It's really difficult for me that none of his friends are aware of what's going on. Every time we hang out with them, they still see us as this perfect couple, and they think he's the perfect, loyal boyfriend. I feel the need for everyone to know what he's put me through. It doesn't seem right that he gets to act like everything's perfect around his housemates and friends, while I'm left alone at night, consumed by this. I understand that he hasn't told them because not to sound conceited, but I have a great rapport with his housemates, and they often remind him that he'd be a fool to mess things up with me. He knows that telling them would make them disappointed in him. And now, with my family vacation coming up in 2 weeks, I can't help worrying about what he might do while I'm away. I want to forget what happened and move on. Writing this post is the longest I've been able to think about since I found out. It's like my brain refuses to let me even think about it. Maybe it's a way to cope. I know breaking up is probably the right thing to do, but I feel so fuck off that I have to give up the future I wanted with him because of what he's done. I'm annoyed that I now have to work on myself and deal with this internal struggle, all because he chose to be unfaithful. I'm feeling a bit lost and I need some advice. It's a long story, so I apologize for that. Recently, my partner expressed a desire to work things out and even suggested getting me a promise ring as a symbol of commitment. However, I can't help but feel that such commitment should have been evident from the start. On another note, we are both in the process of undergoing full STD screening. He has already tested negative for chlamydia and gonorrhea through a urine test. Any advice would be appreciated, and I'll do my best to respond to any questions in the comments. Hey everyone, it's time to get pumped up and show some love by hitting that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to smash the bell icon to stay updated with all the thrilling content. Thanks a million for tuning in, I'm super stoked to see you in the next video. You all are awesome.